Welcome to the Bernie Kosar Show with our top dog, Hanford Dixon. Oh, yeah. I'm Gabriella Cruz. We're alongside our main show producer, Big Play Dave. We also have Angry Ken in the house, of course. We're going to get to it with our opening drive. Browns have lost all three of their losses. They're giving up that fourth quarter lead, but should it have even come down to those mistakes made under pressure by that point? We're going to break it all down with our opening drive. How about some initial reactions from you guys, though?
Well, I absolutely thought the way the Chargers were trying to give us that game yesterday, that we should be 3-2, not 2-3. If you'd have said Justin Herbert was going to be 22 for 34, only 228 yards, the first time he hasn't thrown for more than 300 yards on the road in 5 games, if you would, with their weak running game, if you would have said they came into the game for 4 games, averaging 59 yards a game, 236 yards rushing, and they had 238 yesterday. Never would have thought that.
Well, it was just weird. All that whole game, the way it all started and the way it played out, and you hit it right on the head talking about Justin Herbert. I mean, this kid is just big. He's just got a rock, and they're number 1 passing team in the NFL coming into the game yesterday. But it was just weird how everything turned out. We're going to get into it. We're going to break it down, and we're going to tell you what we think about the game yesterday.
Number one passing team and the worst running team in the NFL up until yesterday, unfortunately.
Let's kick it to Angry Ken, too, because I know he has some
Do we have to?
No.
Oh, God.
Please, Gabby, save us. Save us from
My
this.
mom says, why do you got to wear the sunglasses on the show? I said, because we never get a chance to put on the victory chain.
You didn't go to the Guardians game this weekend, did you?
In the immortal words of Josh Cribbs, the Browns almost always win. We got a lot to say. My head is about to explode. Gabby, back to you.
All right. Well, we did start off well. Jacoby looking good. We saw the chemistry with Amari and Njoku. Bernie, we're going to tee up this first touchdown here for you to take a look at.
Okay, we don't want Ken's head to explode.
Actually,
here.
second touchdown.
He doesn't have the CTE. The 2 guys on the desk here do.
Yeah.
This is going to put us up 14-0, and we want to know what was the key to success between these two.
This is as gorgeous a throw and catch protection play as you could really get. Actually, the Chargers are in an excellent defense for this. Look at Amari Cooper at the top of your screen. Dave, if you can go back to the beginning on this here, the corner has awesome outside technique. He almost is a yard to a yard and a half. That's 4.5 feet outside Amari Cooper. Amari knows he's going to be running to the outside. To get that corner to bite and really believe that inside move, we don't see him at the top of his stem. But we've talked a lot at length on the podcast, and Amari Cooper makes almost all of his routes look the same. He gets to the top of his stem, and he absolutely sells with his footwork and his quickness the ability to get the corner's hips turned. And amazingly here, to get the corner to get up here, pressure his hips, and then get outside of him is exceptional. And look at the timing, the perfect pocket by our offensive line, and then Jacoby to lay that perfectly. Where only Amari Cooper could get that. That's absolutely perfect professional football. And right now, at this point yesterday, how good, top dog, did all of us feel yesterday, being a 14-0 at this point?
Yeah, it was just a perfect route because you talked about it. When you look at the way Amari Cooper ran his route, it was just outstanding because you hit on it. The corner already has an outside technique. And when I guarantee you, Jackson, who's a veteran corner, when he went through his film study, when he watched him, Amari Cooper run his route, normally what'll happen is he'll take off straight up the field, then he'll cut in toward the post probably for about 3 yards. Amari, probably knowing that he was watching him, took an extra step toward that post. And then when the corner, Jackson, bit on the post, that's when he cut it back to the outside, and that's why he was so wide open.
Awesome point there, top dog.
Yeah.
To get that extra step. And for young receivers out there, young coordinators up there, sometimes you try when you're running routes, you try to be too fast, be too quick. You be patient like that. Sell your route. Sell the fake like that. And to take that extra step and really sell the cornerback and get him to believe and get his hips turned. Beautiful job by Amari.
And it's crazy we have to talk about this right now in a professional level because you have to know where your help is and where your help is going to come from. And in this situation, his help was on the inside. And he did not have to jump that route like he did.
Right.
All right, let's switch gears, talk a little bit of defense here. We're going to tee up this next thing. Eckler with the touchdown run. Hanford, we want to know, how does this happen?
Boy, I tell you what, I mean, we thought going into this ball game, we were getting our two top defensive linemen back, talking about Myles Garrett and Clowney. And you could see right here, it just didn't matter a lot yesterday because, Bernie, you talked about it. This team was terrible rushing the football, absolutely terrible. But this guy is pretty good right here, talking about Heckler. That was a big 73-yard run, and that's what we're afraid of when you start bringing the linebackers up, guys. But here's what happened. As you guys know, we missing Walker right now. Anthony Walker, who is the guy who's really would be there plugging that hole. Phillips just got completely blocked on the play. Phillips is number 50, right in there in the middle of the screen right there. Boom! See how their action is? The lineman is out on him, got him blocked right here. Now you're going to see the back, Eckler, cut right off of that block. And now what's going to happen is the safety was in a bad position.
That was Grant Delpit, right?
He was in a terrible position right there because he is the guy that's got to make that play. And just think Newsome and Delpit, they were able to catch him before he went in the end zone.
Yeah, that tackle by Newsome there actually reminded me of a statement that Coach Marty Schottenheimer used to make. That looks like that's a touchdown. Sometimes guys would give up on that. Look where Greg Newsome starts at the top right of your screen there. He could easily, and he has man cover, so he could easily get not hustle on this play. But because of his hustle, he tracks down Austin Eckler, tackles him at the 2-yard line, and we actually, instead of them getting a touchdown here, we hold them to a field goal at 14-0 to keep it 14-3 instead of 14-7. That's actually exceptional hustle by Greg Newsome. And again, the top dog for Austin Eckler. He came into this game 4 games into the 2-2 record, and he comes in with 136 yards rushing in the whole season. Cranks out 173 yards yesterday. So, and after that was the first play after that awesome Amari Cooper play. So we're up 14-0. That's the first play out. And that's something where, you really want your defense to set the tone to make a play like that. And granted that, Justin Hebert is a throwing quarterback, and they were probably anticipating pass there. You can't give up those type of big plays early like that.
And this isn't the first time this has happened this year. We give up a big play after we have momentum, and then it's completely gone. Hanford, how do you stop that on defense?
Well, it's just crazy because you're right. I mean, yes, we gave up a 73-yarder to him, and then this guy also had, he didn't score on that play, but he also had another long run. He ran for 22 yards for a touchdown where he broke the plane. And our run defense just stinks. I mean, we absolutely stink.
Well, we've been talking about it through the course of the year, is even before the season. The insecurity or issues that we felt about our team was our run defense. We talked about the linebackers being undersized before the injuries, and we talked about our defensive tackles being young, inexperienced, and undersized also before the season. Now when you get some bumps and bruises, you get a couple injuries, that unfortunately that's massively getting exploited this past Sunday, and unfortunately, Bill Belichick and the Patriots are coming to town with that type of mindset on film.
And I know we got to wrap this up, but real quick, that's why we went out and we Deion Jones, I think is the kid, we just signed. We signed him. He's a guy he originally went to school at LSU, but he's a linebacker, second-round pick. So hopefully that'll shore up that running game a little bit.
Angry Ken just has to point out, he's on the injured reserve.
Okay.
Yeah, well, he's coming from Atlanta, and hopefully maybe a D tackle like Dominic Sue or something, because you need to be we have to be stouter in the middle of the line.
He's still out there?
Dominic Sue, where isn't he available? Now, somebody says he's about 500 pounds, but that might be better than what we got.
Well, we need to really solidify that middle of the pocket, middle of the line of scrimmage right now.
And if he's 500, that'll be good because we know there's nobody's going to move him.
Yeah,
so he's going to be right there. Yeah, he's going to be
moving that big dog.
He's going to be right there in the middle.
Let's keep breaking down the defense here and take a look at some coverage. Hanford, end of the first quarter. We're up 14-3. Mike Williams gets targeted. Denzel Ward was all over him here, but he's a little behind him. Break down this coverage for us.
Yeah, what happened here is you got Denzel and Mike Williams, who is by far their best receiver. I mean, this guy's a big target.
Special.
I mean, he is special. I think when you look at his numbers yesterday, he had 10 catches for 134 yards. I mean, look at him. Now, Denzel actually had pretty good coverage on him right here. But what he didn't do, Mike Williams just wanted the ball a little bit. He wanted a little bit better than he did. Look, watch this. Watch it. Watch Denzel. See him out. He's all over. The ball's up in the air. Look at Mike Williams. And he made a couple of catches yesterday like this. I think one was on Denzel and one was on our other corner over there. But that's okay. Denzel, you live with this one because he had pretty good coverage. And
That's acceptable. Yeah,
there's nothing you could do about that.
Yeah,
one.
we were talking last week that I think our corners are better suited for man coverage like this. In man coverage, sometimes these things happen. Denzel actually does an exceptional job there. That's just a gorgeous throw and catch. And actually, in the old days, you're aiming now for those high balls because you can't touch anybody like that.
So this is a question for you, Hanford.
Okay.
In that situation, because you got a taller receiver, do you teach the corner to go for the arms? Knock the ball out on the arms because he's going for the ball there.
Well, yeah, what he should do, because you're going to see another one like that.
In the old days, Hanford would have grabbed those arms. That elbow would have been chewed off.
You're going to see, maybe you're not going to see it here, but later in the game, I mean, there was another catch he had on Emerson, who is a much taller cornerback. But what I used to always do, and what I think you need to do, a big guy like that, you can't let him off the line of scrimmage. You can't let him off the line of scrimmage. You got to bump him right there on the line of scrimmage. And I used to love, actually, when they were big receivers, because when they were big receivers, they can't really get off the line of scrimmage. So the problem is where Denzel got in trouble. The first, he started right off where he let him off the line. He probably just turned and started to run with him because he's thinking that this guy can't run away from him. But you got to bump him at the line of scrimmage, because I'll tell you, and I'll tell you again, and I always used to say this, when you have the quarterback, and when that quarterback take his drop, and he look over there at that you and that receiver, and you got that receiver tied up on the line of scrimmage, he's got to go somewhere else with the ball because he don't have time to wait on him. Because if he's waiting, especially when you got two guys like Myles Garrett and Clowney rushing a quarterback, you got a clock that's ticking in your head. So that's the problem where Denzel got in trouble. He just didn't bump him at the line of scrimmage.
And you know what? And to Denzel and to the Browns situation, that's actually kind of a league-wide trend right now.
Yeah.
Is you're seeing corners now in their press coverage they're pressing and they're trailing basically, and they do the trail and catch up with it. Whereas in the old days, you were way more physical, especially in that first 5 yards, and you're still allowed to hit in those first 5 yards. You have to slow. You have to slow them down, in my mind. Because to Top Dog's point is us QBs. If we look up there and you're stoned up and you're dancing in just a couple yards downfield, I'm probably coming off that. If I get a free release and I see you streaking down the sidelines, I'm probably going to take a shot at it because, and not to be funny here, but cornerbacks, if you guys could catch, you'd be wide receivers. So, in the way the rules are set
you're taking a shot at us.
Yeah,
that's
well,
all right. That's all right. But it's
way
true.
It's true. And the way
true.
the rules are set, you're at such a disadvantage there. So if you got a free release and you're down the field, you're really almost in a catch-22 position there.
All right, so we got the Chargers drive continuing on us and the run game continuing to crush us. We got another play here for you. We want to know, this is a touchdown run by Joshua Kelly Hanford. Whose job is it on the goal line to cover the outside?
Boy, I tell you, this is a play that I get mad, and I'm like Angry Ken when I watch this one right here. It just really upsets me because when you look at it right here, you're going to see, and I'm not picking on Denzel. I love the kid. I mean, I love him. He's got, I love his mom, his family. But anyway, you see him right here. He's got outside responsibility, okay? This is his zone. What he's got to do is if the play bounces to the outside, he's got to be in position to turn it back in, not let it get outside him. You see him right here. Watch him. He's going to get caught on the inside, peeping, and now it's too late. He can't. Watch him try to get back to the outside, and he just can't do it because those guys are so big and they're so fast that they'll run right by you, and that's what happened. The mistake right there was Denzel Ward not keeping his outside leverage and letting the running back get outside.
So Hanford, this has been going on and on and on, week after week after week. In the defensive meetings today, when they're watching the tape, I mean, what could Denzel possibly say he was thinking there?
Well, that's what I would want to know, because if I was Denzel, defensive back coach, he would have to tell me, Denzel, you know what the defense is. You know what your responsibility is. Just tell me what were you thinking so I would know. And he wouldn't be able to tell me. He'd probably look at me like I would look at the coach. If that was me, I would just look at the coach and I would just say, Coach, it's my fault because I know, how the defense is designed.
Well, I agree with that, but also, and again, I'm not trying to be an apologist for the players and for Denzel there, but at that point, it's still in the first half of the game, and we're such creatures of coaching and statistics that when we go into this game, we're the Chargers, again, the worst running team in the NFL. Justin Herbert, the best thrower in the NFL. So much. We talked about this on the first play on the Austin Eckler long run, and now on this touchdown here. It's almost like we're anticipating pass.
Yeah.
And we're gearing towards pass so that we're cognizant of pass first because the Chargers haven't been a running type team. So that's not a good reason for it because you have to play each play on its own objectively. But sometimes you're predisposed from your scouting reports and you're almost guessing a little bit or anticipating that a throw is coming, and right there, that's a run formation that they hadn't shown. Yeah. They hadn't shown in their first game, so it's a new formation that probably caught them off guard.
Well, let me say it. You're saying it just like a true quarterback because you're hoping that we think the way you're thinking during that play, so you can.
It's the chess match.
Absolutely.
All
right, let me tell you what an angry fan is thinking. Nobody's home. Where's the corner? Yeah. Where's the corner?
And you're right, Ken. You're absolutely right on that. You have to play the defense regardless of what you think they may do or what they haven't done in the past. But the defense is designed on that particular play where the corner can't let anything get outside him. If it's a pass, he's got that deep outside, and if it's a run, he's got to come up, support the run, turn it inside, squeeze it in.
So real quick,
all your help is coming from the inside.
Real quick, Hanford, what's the key there? Because we've seen this time and time again. What's Denzel looking at? Real quick, what's he looking at? And what did he miss?
Well,
he was looking at his receiver.
Instead of watching what's going on in the backfield, because if it was man to man, he can look at the receiver. But you could tell he wasn't in man to man; he was in a zone. So what you do is you come up. First of all, you got you got to have your outside technique. But you're right; you got to be looking in the backfield to see what's happening. So you come up, you hit him, you take him on with your inside shoulder, and then not losing leverage because you can't let anything get outside you. You got to turn it back in. That's the whole problem. He didn't turn it back inside.
To let the pursuit catch up.
Let the pursuit catch up.
I know what you guys are saying. When I watched that play over and over again, he just kind of runs into a bunch of people. I don't even know what he was doing.
Right. You're exactly right.
I mean, it wasn't like he was going to try and cover the receiver. He just closed his eyes and ran into the pile.
To Hanford's point, he's running in like it's almost a man coverage.
All right, we're going to skip ahead now, guys. So Browns were able to hang into it for the most part. It's 30-28 into the fourth quarter. There's only 2:55 left to play, 3-7, all our timeouts remaining. We want Bernie to break this one down. Maybe just that Browns bad feeling you got in your gut. But Jacoby once again throwing a pick in a really tense situation. I know, Hanford, you've said it before, pressure makes the pipe burst. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't think it's pressure making the pipes burst here, but this is, I got so many thoughts on this, and obviously when this happens, you're sick. From a quarterback perspective, from Jacoby's perspective, I know this is something that, unfortunately, until the CTE takes our memory away, he's going to remember this every day of his life. This is something where you don't sleep at night after this. But on 3rd and 7 like this, this is almost prophetic to what we talked about last week. Here we have 4th and 4 last week on the opening drive, and so many people were saying, how come he didn't throw back across his body, and how come he didn't see Nick Chubb? And it looked way open last week on that. So as he's doing this this week, he probably has in his mind, he is remembering the Monday film sessions where against the Falcons, he rolled right like that and saw Nick Chubb open. So he looks back here instead of this time looking and staying right. 3rd and 7, down 2 minutes and like 20 seconds to go. You need to keep the clock running. He could absolutely have run for it. And even if you don't get the first down, you're able to stay in bounds, and now you're making it basically a 20-yard field goal to take the lead here. Well,
pressure does bust a pipe, and I think that's what happened here. It did bust the pipe because I want you to see that run that. I'm going to show you something real quick on that particular play. Okay, and you're absolutely right. He should have ran it, and if he'd have ran it, he probably would have got the first down. But here's why you don't throw that ball. It's totally different from last week, and I'll tell you when to stop that thing. You look at it right there, hold it. Look what you see. 1, 2, 3. There's another defensive player back there, 4. There's nowhere to throw this ball. I don't know what he's doing. There's nowhere to throw. Now let it go. There's nowhere to throw this ball. Boom. See it right there? Look in the screen. There's 1, 2, 3, 4,
6.
5, at least
in
5, 6 in the end zone. There's no way you can get that ball in there. There's no way. So it was a total disaster. And right when Jacoby Brissett get me, Bernie, a little bit on his side, he's starting to lose me. Because when you look at it, he's thrown 3 interceptions. All 3
in the fourth quarter.
You got it.
And Bernie, it's 3rd and 7. We're down 2. There's 2 minutes and 49 seconds left in the game. If you're the quarterback, what's going through your head when you're throwing that ball? Are you just sliding and taking the field goal if it's not there?
Let me say this before you answer that. Let me say this before you answer that. See, that's where, and I'm not just saying this because he's sitting right here. That's why you need a guy like Bernie on that sideline, in his ear, talking to him, making him aware of certain things at this time of the ball game. And I don't know what they're doing, but it's crazy to me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would love to be after the fact today and or during that game. That is stuff that shouldn't even get to that point.
Right.
And I'm not sure at 30-28 if I even give him a chance to throw on 3rd and 7, give anybody a chance to throw, because you basically can get down to the 2-minute drill, get the lead like that. Yeah. So there's that part of being safer probably with the play call, but also in terms of making those plays and not making those plays like that.
You know what? So you just said the play call. And again, the fans are angry in Cleveland again today because we've had, Stefanski, he's almost always good, but then he makes some ridiculous calls at the moment you don't expect it.
That was not a ridiculous call. It's just a call that you may want to do something a little different throwing the ball wise. But even, in terms of the route, I mean, how you scheme
I
it.
agree. We understand, yeah.
But the thing that's even more so, whether it's the coach or not, the player or not, and Top Dog, I like Jacoby, and he played a really good game except for a couple plays yesterday. But that being said, when you're out there, use the cue.
Yeah.
My initial coaches, the great Howard Snellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, Coach Shula, they said us quarterbacks, we said this in the podcast, I'm repeating myself, but we're erasers. Mm-hmm. We have to erase the mistakes of the coaches. Yeah. Okay, and we have to know, as a QB, I pride myself on knowing that in that situation, I must keep that clock running. I must get some points and get my kicker out there. So there's probably no way I'm really throwing that ball, and I'm telling him that. So I just know that inherently as the QB. And for young quarterbacks out there, you have to have that and take that upon yourself, because in the heat of battle, coaches, sometimes people make mistakes, and you have to know what to do. And again, Jacoby, I know deep down today he knows that, but in the heat of battle, that didn't resonate and click in right away, obviously.
Speaking of play calling, or maybe as Angry Ken said, ridiculous play calling, how about after this, when Staley goes for it, 4th down and 1, basically giving us the long field goal if we can't convert, or if they don't convert. So how about Emerson breaks that up? What did you think of this play call? Because we could have had this in the bag.
Well, we talked about our John Carroll West and the L.A. Chargers, and I love all the John Carroll connections, and I really love Brandon Staley, and he's a beautiful young coach, and I absolutely thanked God yesterday for that. That was a gift from God. That was better than Christmas morning. Very rarely do you get those type of miracles and gifts. So to have that happen, I was in probably more shock about that than I was about the Jacoby pick a couple minutes earlier. So, God, if I'm in the LA Chargers organization, sometimes you got to help us from falling off the cliff. Somebody has to strangle.
Did you see Keenan McCarthy? Did you see Keenan Allen's tweet about that whole play?
No, I did not.
All right. So, guys, they turn it over. As an angry Browns fan, you're like, oh, my gosh. It's like you said, Bernie, unbelievable. Now, we've got this running game that's working. Good use of the timeouts to put us in a position. We'd used our timeouts wisely. Got to give Coach credit there. But then we throw a bomb down the left sideline. Bernie, do you throw that pass there, or do you just run 3 times, spike the ball, and kick a 35-yard field goal?
Well, there's quite a few points there, but you're asking the guy who lives and dies by the bomb, throwing the fade versus press coverage. I think it's the ultimate sign of disrespect. You cornerbacks could shut down us QB and receivers on that fade like that. So I know Cade York kicked a 58-yard field goal to beat the Carolina Panthers, and that was awesome, and we were all ecstatic. I do not bank on statistics of trying to play for a north of 50-yard field goal to win the game like that, if I'm able to get closer. So after we hit that slant down to around the 40-yard line, 37-yard line like that, the running play to Kareem Hunt on the first down that lost 3 yards, I have a philosophical belief when I'm like I had last week when I said when we got the ball down to the 41-yard line against the Atlanta Falcons and we did not run the ball. We actually, I think, threw a pass and then took a sack. I like when we run the ball, Angry Ken, right at him. I don't like wide peripheral runs in clutch situations. So if I had to do that again, he called the run. I would have called a off tackle up the field run like that. That doesn't lose 2-3 yards. That probably gets. We were averaging about 5 yards a carry. So that probably gets
6,
it now.
7, 8.
Yeah, that gets it into the low into the 32, 33-yard line. Now you're able to possibly run again like that. But and again, I like throwing the fades. But another one of my pet peeves is how you run fades and takeoffs and how you end up on the sideline. So you don't have enough space outside the throw. And what bothered me on the takeoff throw was that it was out of bounds. So you if you're gonna take that shot, you gotta throw it. You want to throw it inbounds. You want to give your guy a shot. You want to give your pass interference, your defensive holding plays, because that ball really kind of wasn't catchable, and that's the part that bothered me on that.
How about Cade York? He was the hero week 1, and now, Bernie, do you think he deserves to be villainized at this point, or do you have any positive message for him?
Well, I do love Jacoby Brissett in his post-game press conference when he was asked about does he still have confidence in Cade York, and for a guy who Jacoby, who was feeling bad about himself for the way the fourth quarter materialized for him, to unequivocally and without hesitation say, hell no, I haven't lost faith in him, we haven't lost faith in him. Even if they have. It was awesome how he answered that because he's a rookie kicker.
But you know what, though? Angry Ken got to jump in here. You know, he was missing them during the pregame. He missed one at the end of the half. I know everyone's saying he's a rookie swing. He's getting paid a lot of money. We drafted him in the fourth round?
Fourth round.
Fourth round.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacoby said the right things. Guys, in that locker room, Hanford, you just played your butt off. Bernie, you just got your head smashed in. Are you really thinking that right now?
Here's the question. I mean, the question is, does Katie York have confidence in himself right now? Because he's fighting those demons right now. And I thought it was very, very interesting. I watched, sometimes I watch the Today Show, and they had a very, very important segment with Justin Tucker.
Oh, I saw that this morning, too.
Cool. It was good.
The kicker from Baltimore. And I thought something he said was very, very interesting to me. And it's probably what we think and what, the players are thinking and said. And he said he's not, he understands what they're saying. And they turn around and sometimes they look at him and say, you got one goddamn job to do. One job to do. Now do it. And you can say what you want to say. Everybody's going to come out publicly and say we're behind Katie York, which they probably are, but still they're thinking you got one damn job.
I think about the words of one of our great kickers, Matt Barr. Matt Barr used to say, "You're only as good as your last kick." So one of the things that we talked about a couple podcasts ago was I actually got a little nervous with all the kudos, with all the credit that we were giving Cade York early in the year. And not that he didn't deserve it, and not that it wasn't warranted, but it's premature. And when you have the mindset that you're only as good as your last kick as your next upcoming kick, it kind of keeps that anxiety, keeps that pressure, keeps that focus going there. And that's something that I'm not sure is
last word from Angry Ken on this. On your day off, go give $20 to the security guard over at First Energy and kick 100 balls.
All right. Final thoughts, you guys, before we move forward?
Well, I'm glad we didn't actually do. We probably should have done that 4th and 1 play too early in the game when we didn't do the quarterback sneak.
Yeah. That was in third down.
We did the run there. Those are things. Those are things now, like we talked about last week, where people wanted us to throw to Nick Chubb on the roll right, and then that materialized again this past week. One of the things I'm kind of looking for was it didn't work on 4th and a half a yard this week, and we ran wide. And so much talk in the podcast has been the success rate that Jacoby Brissett has had historically on his quarterback sneaks. Yeah. He's over 95% with that. To not do that yesterday and to not have success probably means the next time that situation comes up, we'll probably tend towards that quarterback sneak. Why am I saying that? Not to give away our game plans, but to say we're playing the Patriots this week. I guarantee Bill Belichick thinks just like that. And Bill Belichick, yesterday, the quarterback sneak was actually there because they had a double bubble. Yeah. The nose was covered, and then both guards had a little outside shades of the D tackle. So the offensive guards, so you would be able to get that quarterback sneak in there. But when Belichick does that and he anticipates a 4th and a half or a quarterback sneak in the field of play, he'll sell out with his 6'2" goal line guys. He'll bring in 6D linemen. And that's something where, again, I still absolutely love Joel Bitonio, Posick, and Wyatt Teller. Yeah. Although they crushed Posick on that play for saying he blew the block. Actually, he did not. He had a turn back block on an OT with Joel Bitonio pulling. And I'm a massive Wyatt Teller fan, but actually Wyatt overstepped there on the D tackle, and his guy got quick penetration. And when you're trying to step instead of just mashing with those 3 big guys.
Yeah, I'll say this real quick before we move on that. But I thought it was interesting because when you look at Jacoby Brissett, he's got a knack for it, just like you said on that quarterback sneak. And one of the questions they asked him, they said, you just feel so comfortable doing that. He said, "Look at me. I'm 6'4". I can lay down and get a yard." So I thought that was pretty interesting what he was saying.
Yeah, and then the line of questioning too was interesting. Before the timeout, they asked if the sneak was called, and he said no, it wasn't called. And this is something where we talk about leadership and we talk about play calling. Is sometimes as players, and this was a big key to my success, but it also got me cut a couple times. So it's a catch-22. You need to actually be well pointed and on point when you make these changes. But sometimes guys love to feel like when guys, we're in this together. And I know when I'm in the huddle, and I'm going to look in the huddle, I got the guys around me. I'll look into the camera here like you're the center and the two guards. And you got some play called where we're tricking you or we're pulling, and I'm going to try to dick them into a good play. And I instead say, screw that play. And I look those guys in the eyes and go, we're going to mash them. We're going to run right at them. And all I need is a foot. And they're going to tell me that, and again, the Marty Schottenheimer line that I use every week, in the heat of battle, championship teams can get a foot. They can get a yard when you want it. So to say that to Joel Petonio, Wyatt Teller, Ethan Postic, okay, those guys, they live for that type stuff. They live for that. You get them excited, you get them motivated. You get them motivated like I am. And I sucked at quarterbacks.
You mentioned getting cut as a quarterback, and we have Bill Belichick coming to town.
Is that like a transition?
I think we're still angry about it. I know Angry Ken is still very angry. People don't forget. Let's kick it over to Angry Ken, actually.
Well, if you notice, the hoodie's down and the sunglasses are off because we're going optimistic. Because
and the hoodie, he's not as angry anymore. I think he's finally got that game out of his system.
Well, you mentioned the Guardians. That does make me happy. But so Bill Belichick's coming in town.
That wasn't very believable. Happy. Geez, Eddie Haskell there.
So we all know the history between you and Bill Belichick, but tell us a little bit about the dynamic of the relationship then and now, and maybe some things that we haven't heard in the past.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny too. There's so many different points with it, but I was the coach at Bill Belichick's first win was at Foxborough, at New England with the Cleveland Browns in 1991, 20-0. I was the quarterback for that team. Remember hitting Thriller, Michael Jackson, on a 65-yard touchdown pass. I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
I like that one, huh? Yeah.
I remember 31 years ago. Okay, and to go from that first game in 1991. And then the Browns actually played the Patriots at Foxborough for Bill Belichick's 300th victory just, I think, 2 years ago, which actually was kind of funny because I was traveling with the team. I went up to the game with Bill Belichick's agent, Neil Cornridge. And we went up to the game. We went up into the locker room after the 300th win. And he is watching, and his family and his friends are all playing the Bill Belichick highlights. And the whole highlight is the 1991 game of his first win. And he doesn't know I'm there. I walk in, there's 50 people in there. And he looks up and he makes eye contact. And he goes, fucking Bernie's here. He was all excited. I loved it, man.
So
I don't know if we could edit that, but that is what he said. Our language back in the 90s was very poor.
So Bernie, he's given credit right now as one of the legendary, maybe the best coach of all time. In those days, was he a control freak? What kind of dynamic? What did you guys talk about daily basis? And then Hanford, we want to get your perspective on what it was like.
My favorite coaches and my early coaches were absolutely dictators, control freaks. As a guy who wants to be open-minded and understand everything, that wasn't how my football mentality went. So I absolutely was actually in perfect harmony with Bill when he came. I loved his attention to detail. I loved his almost military approach to the team. Actually, in his first year, we had such a good relationship that after the season, we had our player breakdown meetings, and you sit, talk to the coach, and he comes in and he goes, I can't thank you enough. It's probably the best season. And it's actually we weren't as good talent-wise as we were when you and me were playing together. So sometimes I played better he goes, man, you have actually the best year of your career, and he actually thanked me for. He said, I couldn't have got through this year without you. And that relationship really, and that respect level was so strong there. And what happened though was, when you're a young coach like that and you're trying to do everything, he's a spectacular defensive coordinator. spectacular special teams coach. He hadn't learned the offensive side of it just yet then. And some of the things that I used to do in terms of needing to be successful, I'm slow, I have to be on top of my game play-wise. It took a while for him to kind of get that offensive flow for it, and that's where me and him had our issues with.
Bernie, when you changed that play at the end, I think it might have been your last pass. A legend has it, you changed the play, you drew it up, you told Webster, I'm going to hit you. You threw the touchdown. Fans were going crazy. Did he really say just call the play?
Well,
Well,
actually, it wasn't Webster, and that's actually our first year. We had such a good relationship together. But I had my guys. I had Webster. I had Reggie Langhorne. Part of the relationship started to deteriorate when he brought in some other front office people, and they made a movement to get rid of all the receivers. So Webster was gone, Langhorne was gone, Brennan was gone, and Michael Jackson was there, and again, it's almost like we were talking about, and I'm not trying, I do not do this to be insubordinate, and I'm not suggesting that young quarterbacks and or Jacoby should sometimes change the plays, but I guess I flat out did, like on that 4th and 1 play, because when you have a conviction and you have a belief in things, and then you get the other 10 guys in the huddle to believe in you and to believe in that play, belief is such a strong motivator to success. Yeah. And when you have guys believing in you and committed to a cause like that, you have a better chance of success. So, yeah, back in the old days, and I was chuckling about this. We were hanging with the Guardians yesterday, and they were talking about how beautiful the field was. And I'm like, saying this wasn't the crap that we played on. We had on that landfill. That was spray painted mud back then. But yeah, when I would have a feel, and we were playing, ironically, the Denver Broncos, which was one of my nemesises. Ours, yeah. Well, we'd beat them in the regular season,
and then they go lay an egg in the Super Bowl.
I'd be able to understand and see what defenses are doing during the game, and they had a couple of safeties, Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith, phenomenally great players, but they were overly aggressive. And they would get up towards the line of scrimmage. So when I changed plays, I knew I was getting yelled at a little for it. So to be able to go up and draw a square in, take off to Thriller again, Michael Jackson.
So Hanford, let's just quick from what did you think of Belichick?
Well, I have a lot of respect for him, but I never really played for Bill. I didn't know him that well, and I was going to ask you a question, but you answered it already. Well, then, so I don't have.
Hey, one interesting Bill thing to me and how we kind of stand now was I'm not sure how much the younger viewers or listeners know out there, but between the Browns and between the Patriots, he was for a couple seconds the New York Jets head coach. And when
a couple seconds, that's right.
And when he was the D coordinator for the Jets, and then when Coach Parcells resigned, and Bill was named the Jets head coach, he went up, had his press conference, and it was a well-documented press conference where he resigned, and he wrote on a note, a piece of paper, I resign as HC for the NJ Jets. And, he caught a lot of flack for it. He wasn't overly articulate in the press conference, so the New York media put a beating on him. And then to go be the Patriots head coach, there was so many people crucifying them. So just about every reporter in the country was calling me to do the slam Bill Belichick interviews and stuff, and kind of thought I'd be the perfect guy to put the nail in the coffin and dive on him on that. And actually, for people to kind of hear my answer and to say no, actually, I thought that it's one thing to say in 2022 Bill Belichick's a great coach, but to say in 1998. Before he went to New England, that I believe Bill Belichick is going to be a great coach and be on record saying that because he's an amazing defensive coach. We said it earlier, amazing special teams, and he's going to learn the offense. The offensive issues that me and him had in the early 90s. This is 8-9 years later. He's figuring that out. He'll outsource that a little bit. He outsourced it to Charlie Weiss, and he evolved. I'm probably one of the only guys that said positive stuff with him. So he actually calls me up, and he goes, "Man, I thought you were going to jump and give me shit for that. I didn't expect you to be being
Bernie,
positive."
They should have called Angry Ken, okay? We wouldn't have been as nice as you. But
No, so you would have hired him, because in 1999, the Browns come back. He hadn't got the New England job yet. So I'm sitting with Mr. Lerner and Carmen Policy, and they're asking me who do I think should be the coach, and I go, "There's no doubt it should be Bill Belichick. He'd be amazing." Carmen laughed at me and said, "He's got no personality." I go, "The coach does not need personality. You need to coach."
All right. Well, need to coach is a nice segue, because one of the things that we've got word, this show that you guys are doing is the fastest growing show on the internet, and we know the players are watching, and there's a lot of people that are saying, "Why aren't you guys out on that sideline coaching, or at least during the week of training camp?" So now we got a section of the show where Hanford, you're going to coach, Bernie, you're going to coach. I'm going to flip it over to Gabby to take us through the game coming up against the New England Patriots.
That's right. Okay, so we are going to do something a little different, and we're going to break down these plays. Since we do have the Patriots coming into town, we're going to break down like the Pats formations, how they're lining up, what they've been doing good on offense and defense. We want to look for those opportunities from our standpoint and what we can prepare for and get your expert analysis. So we're going to start on defense here. Dave's going to pull up this clip. Patriots did a nice job versus the Lions, shut them out 29-0.
Which is amazing, 29-0. The Lions came into this game as the number one scoring offense in the NFL. And to throw a goose egg up there,
Yeah,
it shows that the
like...
Patriots are playing a little bit of defense now.
And we've seen similar throws to Cooper from Brissett in this area.
Well, you have to give the safety in the corner really worked well on this play, because I think what they're playing is a 7, but a soft 7, where the corner got caught in his trying to disguise it a little bit, didn't have a chance to get up. But you're going to see still, when he got back, you see the depth that he got, he still went back with the wide receiver because nobody was threatening him in the flat right here. And that make that a much difficult throw for the quarterback. And now the safety can come over top right here and make this interception, which is an outstanding play. This is where you have two guys working really well together, talking about the corner and the free safety on that particular play.
Now, Bernie, in your shoes, pretend you're Jared Goff here. You're talking to Brissett. What should he be looking for here as the quarterback? Because we do not want to see Brissett throw this to the New England Patriots next week.
Yeah, I'm trying not to throw up right here because it's so close. It's so close to success, but this shows you so many of the fine points you need to do to be successful. So first, you're throwing an arrow takeoff deep throw on the left hash, closest to the boundary on the top of your screen. That means the weak safety has a very good chance with strength into the boundary to be to the top of the screen. You don't want him there. So that's one point on it. And Dave, you go back to the beginning of that, the back steps left. You really want him to step right to get everybody thinking you're going right.
Look at
on the
eyes.
First step. Yeah, look at now. He's just hit his step. He's just hit his last step, and he's looking already dead left. That makes the weak safety for sure. Go. Take off. And now because he hitches, and it's an arrow takeoff, he hitches, delays himself about a half a count. In the pros, in high school, junior high, you can get away with this because the safeties are slow. With the athleticism of the NFL weak safeties, they're going to fly over the top like this and make this play. Now, if from the quarterback perspective, you really want to keep your head to the right with the back going right if possible, because he doesn't have blocking assignments. Look, they're only rushing 3. Now, if Goff here could have stayed with his head to the right, another 2 steps, but when he hitches like that.
So, Bernie, do you play action there?
Well, we'll see. I like play actioning on these type plays to the right to keep the safety.
Exactly.
Well, it probably wouldn't have hurt either. Also, if he would have just maybe faked the throw a little bit to the right-hand side.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
You know, and then that
Absolutely.
really
just
would've
a
had
little
yeah.
eyes.
But Bernie, that play action would have given him that would have taken that little bit of time that you're saying. Instead, he was looking left.
We're actually, unfortunately, so it's not our problem because the Detroit Lions, their system is off on that play. Unfortunately, Angry Ken, what you're talking about, I think we have another play coming up with Bailey Zappe that they use the play action here, and they do exactly here, keeping the safety in the middle of the field with this fake. Now, this is now to the other side, to the bottom of your screen here. This is the rookie, fourth-round draft pick, Zeppe from Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. Look at.
Well, see the corner. Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
There's
with this
so
pick.
many
Oh,
technique
my God.
flaws
It's just
on defense
when
here. Wow.
You got Detroit right here. You cannot let this receiver have a full release. And not only did he let him release, he let him release to the outside.
Oh, God.
And once he
Jam
got
and funnel outside corners.
And once he got outside of him, you're going to see him. He's not getting any depth. And that's going to make it a very difficult throw if you do that. So you're going to watch it. You're going to see him at the end. He's going to come up. He's going to let him get it to the outside. Look at there.
So
now,
you got to get a jam.
Now get deep. You got to get deep because you got two guys threatening the free safety over there. You got to get deep.
And look at number 85 on the
Right.
10-yard line
And
there.
see how now he's waving in the air because he can't get his hand on that ball because he knows that he, first of all, shouldn't let
Dave,
him
are you able to
outside.
stop it right there? Go back a couple times.
Guys, this looks just
Okay,
like
so
our
wait.
defense.
So look at this right here. Go a little farther, Dave. So now the inside guy, number 85, Marty Schottenheimer, Hanford Dixon's first defensive coordinator, Dave Adolph.
Adolph.
Okay, the number 2 guy inside, slot receiver, number 85. And cover 2 like that is 2 deep, 5 under zone. Hell would freeze over before that slot receiver got a free release. You cannot let him get off the release and get onto that safety faster like that. That safety is so screwed right now to be able to do that. Now he's in no man's land there, and 27 to add insult to injury with that poor no jam, no funnel. The corner's rules in cover 2 is if you are not threatened in the flat, okay, by no flat route runner out there, that you must sink and get depth to take the pressure off the safety. So 85 is going up the field. Nobody's coming to the bottom of your screen. No way do you stay out in the flat like that. He's wrong on 4 different ways.
You know what they're saying to Detroit? Oh, miscommunications.
Yeah, Hanford, what do you think about this from a Browns zone coverage standpoint? Where can we be better?
Well, here's the problem. You know, first of all, you got what we have to do is if we were playing that defense and we were playing the same defense they're playing, you see whether this backer right there in the beginning, you can see his feet, but he's rushing. He doesn't touch this guy. You got to touch the guy. You got to funnel him. You got to not let him get a clean
isn't
release.
bullfighting.
Yeah.
Olay him.
Yeah,
This is contact sport.
Right. And then, because see, once he did that, look where the safety is now up top. You see now the safety had to honor the guy coming down the seam, the tight end coming down the seam. He had to go to him right there. See him there? Now he's going to turn around. He see the quarterback is going to throw the ball on the outside, and he just can't get there. So you got to help him out there because he's dead. I mean, he's absolutely dead.
All right.
So what do the Browns do there, Hanford? Can we just play man-to-man from
let
here
me,
on out?
you know what? To that point or that question, Dave and Dog. Sorry to cut you off here, but we talked about this at length last week. That and I asked you the question: is Denzel and our corners, are they better off playing man press coverage and being tight like that? Because in zone coverage, we're having communication breakdowns, we're having softness in that. I was talking about that last week from the pass coverage perspective of shutting down the Chargers. But the more I think about it and the more I look at what happened to us this past Sunday, and what is going to happen this upcoming Sunday, is that when they're running the ball like that, that man press coverage, it absolutely allows you to be more creative in your front seven and to create more pressure and stuff. And when we're playing that soft zone, we're having no ability to stop the run right now. So actually, we could actually do some of this press man coverage and use that from a blitz run for run stopping type defense, because we're going to need more guys in and around the line of scrimmage, attacking the line of scrimmage, not reading and reacting.
Okay, yes, Hanford. So Browns have really been getting crushed by the run this year, and the Patriots, obviously, they rolled the Lions. We've got this next play that we're going to show, and we need to know how we're going to be able to stop this run.
Well, we just have to play better. Hopefully, this new kid that we just signed, the Deion Jones, the linebacker, he's going to maybe strengthen.
I think he's on IR.
Strengthen. Well,
And those two guys that Stevenson just ran over for Detroit are probably on IR.
Guys, when you look at our team right now, because especially our linebackers, they're not really big physical linebackers. They have a lot of speed. Talking about JOK, talking about Phillips. These guys, they're not just big guys. They're not run stoppers like some of the guys we need. And our defensive line has just got to play better. You know what? You talk about Marty Schottenheimer, but he used to, and Dave Adolph, he always used to say it's just all about attitude.
It's your attitude.
It's all about attitude. Whether or not you're going to let a guy just run it down your throat. And if you watch it the last 2 weeks, that's what teams have done to us. They just run it right down our throat. Yeah. And it's all about attitude. We have to get the right attitude, and that way we can stop them.
In reverse, I concur. And that's the same kind of intensity attitude I'm trying to develop in the huddle when I'm talking to my guys, especially the old linemen and running backs, when I need to bang out a yard and a half like that. It's an attitude thing. Yeah. And especially, at big points of the game, we're all tired, we're all a little sore. Who has that attitude? Who has that really never say die mentality is typically the guys that are tougher that come out on top.
Well, guys, it's not going to be about attitude. And we got a section that's like some good attitude based on what you guys have been calling these games pretty hot. Both you guys pretty sharp on the big plays, so let's take it away. Big plays of the week. Now, folks, we've talked about this in the past. Sports betting coming to Ohio. How exciting is that? January 1st. We want to remind everybody it's just pizza money. Nothing more than you can't handle. And if you feel like you've got a problem, Gambler Hotline, 1-800-589-9966. We only want to see you playing with pizza money. But, guys, you're so hot. Browns, New England, over under 42 points.
Well, I don't know. At halftime the other day, all the Browns fans who listened to my over call, they were happy because they won. They won by halftime on the over call with that. So, and I keep going on my homilies about these overs and stuff, and I still want to stay with that. But in my head, I have the Bill Belichick game, the Monday night game against Buffalo last year, and in my head where the Patriots went to Buffalo, and they did not throw a single pass in the whole game. They ran every play. I do not think it'll be that extensive this week, but the running game and slowing the game down could make my over statements a little more challenging.
So over under 42. Let's hear it.
I'm still staying with overs.
Over. Hanford?
I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna go with the over too. I think.
And mainly because, I know Bill. He doesn't care exactly everything I say, but his attention to detail. Somebody within the organization will be listening to this stuff. So there was also a kind of a part when he was here, and I don't mind being incredibly boring, as long as I win. But sometimes when you come back to your own hometowns, you want to show that you're a little creative and that you have some cool stuff. So you got to look for some nuances in this game for sure.
All right, nuances. That'll take us to our single star, Cincinnati Bengals traveling to New Orleans Saints. What are they saying in Cincinnati today?
Well, they're saying that I took them to win. They covered, okay? So they may not be happy that they lost, but we say face.
Bengals giving one at New Orleans. Hanford, what do you say?
Boy, I tell you what, New Orleans, all of a sudden, they had a good game yesterday. They played pretty well. Bengals, as we all know, lost to the Baltimore Ravens. This is a tough one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the Saints. I think they found something in that offense. I'm going to go with the Saints.
Bernie?
Yeah, I still have my Joe Burrow crush going. Their offensive line's been woeful, though. He's taken an inordinate amount of hits.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they get. I'm probably not hoping they win from our division standpoint, but from a young quarterback, a guy who I really like to see, he's taking way too many hits right now.
Yeah.
All right, that takes us to our 3-star. Baltimore traveling to the Giants. Giants' big victory in London. Can you imagine that plane ride home for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers? Oh, I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers crying on that plane. All right, Ravens -5 at the Giants. And by the way, does John Harbaugh get bailed out by that kicker time and time again?
Oh, my God. That's why I
gosh.
didn't understand last week why he had that terrible decision. But
All right, Ravens -5 at the Giants.
That's going to be a tough one because Baltimore, obviously, they're back on the winning track, and the Giants right now, 4-1. They all of a sudden, they got this kid. He is just something else. But I think I'm gonna go against the Ravens. I'm gonna go with the Giants because Baltimore's defense still is lacking a little bit, but I'm gonna go with the Giants.
Yeah, and the 5 points that the Giants are getting at home.
Yeah.
And I'm a Brian Dable fan from his Browns days.
Hey, he's got the players. I think he's got the players.
And he's
believe
been
him.
implementing Barkley, and one of
Yeah.
the things that you see is his game management and his ability to use his guys has been impeccable.
All right, let's go to the 5-star Tampa Bay giving 8 to the Steelers. Now I got to say, did you see that roughing the passer on Tom Brady? Yes, Bertie, you would get knocked out.
Yeah, God, I wish I had those
You got your
referees
teeth
back
knocked
in the
out.
day,
You got
bro.
your ankles broken. There was no penalty. I'm not kidding. That guy just blew a kiss on the cheek of Brady, and they threw for roughing the passer.
That would put
Yeah,
on some
how's that ref in Giselle even going to think that he has concussion problems with that type of star treatment out there?
Buccaneers -8. And by the way, Kenny Pickens, what a debut yesterday. Not what we were expecting. -8 at Pittsburgh, Hanford.
Buccaneers are playing. They're another team that's finally figured it out. So I'm going with the Buccaneers. Pittsburgh can't beat.
I'm a Tom Brady fan. I got bad info last week on the at Pittsburgh call, but this one is at Pittsburgh.
Analytics team.
This is
a lot going on
Kenny,
behind the scenes.
This is Kenny Pickett's home opener, and it's with Tampa coming up north with the colder weather. Hopefully
Bernie's supposed to be 75.
Yeah, well, it's the wind, and I still call it Three Rivers Stadium, Heinz Stadium.
Yeah.
The weather and the weather and the way the Steelers played last week, and the way that Tampa Bay is they're winning, but they're not playing at peak form right now. That's a lot of points to give at home.
This is a get-right game for them.
So you're going Steelers, Bern?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Good
Wow.
for you.
All right. Now, fans, we got to tell you, this is something special. We've been teasing this. Tomorrow, before we get to this game, though, that's not what I'm talking about here. Tomorrow, top men are boarding the Big Play private jet. Flying out to Las Vegas to talk about the hottest show on the internet with DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM, and all the top operators. You're going to want to stay tuned. We're hoping within the next week or two, we're going to have a massive announcement. You're going to come to this show for all your sports betting needs. Hang with us. And that's going to lead us to the bonus game right now. The game of the week, guys. Bills -2.5 at the Chiefs. Let's throw it out there. What do you think, Hanford?
Boy, this is a tough one. This is really a tough one. You got two teams that are playing extremely well right now. Kansas City, obviously, we know Mahomes, and then you got the Bills. Woo! Boy, I'm gonna go with the Bills because their defense is playing well and they're putting up some points. But I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think the Bills are gonna take this one.
Well, I'm literally scarred from being at Arrowhead Stadium and having my elbow ripped out of my joint there. So it's hard for me to go.
I knew you were going to go there.
It's hard for me to go against the Chiefs there, but my massive bro crush on Josh Allen and the hype factor of what happened to them last year, Buffalo's playing good. I'm doing Buffalo.
So there you have it. We're going to keep you guys on the record. Keep this hot streak going. Remember, folks, it's only pizza money. Shout out Master Pizza. With that, throw it back to you, Gab.
That guy who ended up with a car from me yesterday on the over. He didn't say that at halftime.
Back over to you, Gabby.
All right, we're getting to our 2-minute warning now. And Bernie, I know you've been talking about your bro crushes today. 2 minutes, you can talk about anything you want. If you want to end on a high note, I mean, the guards have been crushing it, and I know you hung out with some of them.
Oh,
at the
you
game
absolutely. Thank you for going on that direction. I know we're talking a little Browns and a little game yesterday. Patriots coming up. Absolutely, do not want to end on a negative like that. And what a weekend for the Guardians to sweep, get to sweep the Tampa Bay Rays, go on to get the Yankees this week, to go to the game yesterday and to give a shout out to Cal, to Shane, to Oscar, to Hamid. I mean, it was fun yesterday. Carlos Baerga from my generation was there. I mean, the enthusiasm, the excitement of the crowd Friday and Saturday down at Progressive Field. But to see, and some of these mistakes that we're having with the Cleveland Browns are because of youth. We're the youngest football team in the NFL. To have the youngest professional baseball team in major leagues with the Cleveland Guardians, to win our Central Division like this. And then we've had, up until this weekend, we had more World Series victories than wild card victories. So to even up the World Series with 2 and to get a 2 wins on the wild card and to still be playing October baseball. God bless you, Guardians. Go Guards.
Boy, I tell you, I'll say it quick. That team is just phenomenal. And I was with Carlos, and just to sit here and listen to the excitement in his voice yesterday talking about this young baseball team. And I had one question for him, and I said, tell me about this kid. Gonzalez. I said every time he comes up to the plate, I think he's going to hit a home run. I mean, he just had me so excited just watching him. And when it was funny. I was talking to Gabby about this because I know she was at the game, and I just wanted to know how that place erupted down there after that home run, Gabby.
It erupted there, and then it erupted on Twitter, replaying it. So, it was pretty electric. It was more electric on Friday, to be honest, because Saturday it was a tense atmosphere, going 15 innings and a real pitching battle back and forth. We didn't really let loose till the very end, till Oscar's big moment.
But I've always been a big Indians Guardians fan because I remember, Bernie, we talked about it when they played at the same stadium we played at, and that dirt was down there, and I just love.
We're the only guys that were there. We'd have season tickets to the Indians.
Shout out to Tito. Shout out to Tito.
Tito, God, you're the man. Yeah. Absolutely.
Boy, I tell you what, BK, we've had a good show today.
We had a good show despite the outcome of our game yesterday, but for the fans that are kind of hitting the panic button right now, we're 2-3. We're right still in it. We're 1 game out of the lead in our division. There's still a long season to go. It's imperative that you learn from what happened this week, but imperative that you understand and can put that behind us. Marty used to say, get the games in the rearview mirror. If you made a bad play, forget it for the next one. It's hard to do with Jacoby and some of the things that happen. You say, forget those last couple plays, learn from it. We need to be 3-3 this week.
Well, I'm going to say this, good show partner, and this show is getting hot.
You matter. Yeah! Go Browns.